Never eat raw onions alone. Try this for 10x more nitric oxide here. Is something almost nobody is talking about. And if you are a man over 40 who eats raw onions because you believe in their health benefits, this one detail could be quietly costing you almost everything you are hoping to gain. If you think raw onions are one of the most powerful foods available to you, you are absolutely right. But there is a silent mistake nearly every man makes with onions. A mistake so common that it can reduce your actual results down to a small fraction of what your body is capable of using. And the piece you are missing is not some minor detail. It is the exact piece that determines whether your blood moves freely through your body or struggles against resistance, whether your energy carries you all the way through the day or quietly disappears by early afternoon, and whether your body is functioning the way it was truly built to function. I am Dr. Olivia Brooks, and on this channel, I share evidence-based strategies for men's urological and vascular health, explained in plain, honest language that actually makes sense. Not medical textbooks, not scare tactics, just the truth about how your body works and what it genuinely needs. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why eating raw onions on their own is not enough, and you will walk away with one simple habit that can multiply your body's absorption of onions' most valuable compounds by as much as 10 times. Stay with me all the way to the end, because I am also going to reveal the everyday pairing mistake that almost every health-conscious man makes without ever realizing it. Picture how many men you personally know who started eating raw onions because a friend, a doctor, or a video like this one told them it was good for their heart or their blood pressure. They chop it into their meals, they eat it plain, they add it wherever they can, and then they wait for results that never quite show up the way they expected. Weeks go by, sometimes months, and the fatigue has not lifted. The nighttime bathroom trips have not slowed down. The blood pressure reading barely moves. So they quietly assume the whole thing was overrated, that maybe onions do not work for their body specifically. That conclusion is almost always wrong, and by the end of this video you will understand exactly why. Let me start with something most doctors never take the time to properly explain. Inside your body right now, there is a molecule called nitric oxide, and I want you to picture your blood vessels as a network of garden hoses running throughout your entire body. When those hoses are soft, open, and flexible, water flows through them without strain, without pressure buildup, without resistance. That is exactly what nitric oxide does inside your vascular system. It keeps the walls of your blood vessels relaxed and open so blood can travel freely, so oxygen and nutrients reach every part of your body without a struggle, and so your heart is not forced to work harder than it should. Your brain stays sharp and clear, and for men specifically, your prostate, your urinary system, and your intimate vitality depend on this single molecule more than almost anything else in your entire body. Here is what most men over 40 have never been told. As you age, your body's natural production of nitric oxide steadily declines. Research indicates that by the time a man reaches his 50s, his nitric oxide activity can be reduced by as much as half compared to where it stood in his 30s. That is not a small shift. That is half of your vascular foundation quietly slipping away, and you experience the effects in ways that feel completely familiar. Energy you used to have without thinking about it. Blood pressure that keeps rising year after year. A urinary stream that has lost some of its former strength. An intimate vitality that no longer matches how youthful and capable you still feel underneath it all. This decline does not happen overnight, and it is not the result of anything you did wrong. It happens slowly, quietly, in the background, the same way your hairline changes or your joints start reminding you of old injuries on cold mornings. Nobody sits a man down at 40 and explains that the exact molecule responsible for his circulation, his urinary strength, and his vitality is fading in the background the entire time. Doctors tend to focus on cholesterol readings and blood pressure numbers, and those numbers absolutely matter, but they are downstream effects. Nitric oxide sits much closer to the root cause. When the root cause is properly addressed, those downstream numbers tend to improve as a natural result. Now here is the good news, and I mean this sincerely. You can support your body's own nitric oxide production naturally, consistently, and powerfully through food, and one of the most extensively studied foods on the planet for this exact purpose is the humble raw onion. Raw onions contain two remarkable groups of healing compounds. The first is quercetin, a powerful antioxidant found concentrated in the layers of the onion. The second is a family of natural sulfur compounds, the very same compounds responsible for that sharp, eye-watering smell onions are famous for. Together, these two groups directly activate the system inside your blood vessel walls responsible for producing nitric oxide. This is well-documented science, and honestly, I find it humbling. These healing compounds exist inside a simple, inexpensive vegetable that any man, in any country, can find at nearly any market. Nature tends to provide in the simplest ways possible, but here is where almost every man, and almost every health video covering this topic, gets it completely wrong. Stay with me right here, because what comes next is the piece that changes everything about how you should be eating onions starting today. This is the exact moment where most viewers close the video, and it is precisely why so many men eat onions for years without ever noticing the difference they were promised. If raw onions are already a regular part of your daily meals, tell me in the comments where you are watching from. I love hearing from men who are actually showing up for their own health. Now let me show you the missing piece. The active compounds in raw onions, that antioxidant quercetin, and those powerful sulfur molecules share one critical characteristic. They are fat-soluble. Two words that matter more than anything else in this entire video. Here is what fat-soluble actually means, in plain, everyday language. Have you ever tried to mix oil and water together in a glass? No matter how hard you stir, they separate almost immediately. The oil rises straight to the top every single time. Your digestive system behaves in a strikingly similar way. The healing compounds locked inside a raw onion are built by nature to travel through fat, not through water. Without fat present in the same meal, your gut cannot properly absorb these compounds. They pass directly through your digestive system and exit your body without ever reaching your bloodstream. Your blood vessels never feel their effect. Your nitric oxide levels stay exactly where they were before you even touch the onion. Low. But when fat is present alongside these compounds, something remarkable happens. Research shows absorption can improve by 5 to 10 times. Not 10% better. 5 to 10 times better. For a man over 40 who is already starting from a lower baseline than he had in his 30s, this difference is enormous. It is the difference between capturing a small fraction of the benefit you are counting on and capturing nearly the full effect your body is genuinely capable of using. It is the difference between feeling drained by mid-afternoon and feeling authentically strong throughout the day. Between a urinary system that struggles quietly and one that is actually being supported every single day. Let me put this into a picture you will not forget. Imagine two men, both 55 years old, both eating raw onions every single day, both believing they are doing the exact same thing for their health. The first man eats his onions plain, exactly the way he always has, straight off the cutting board. The second man learned one small detail and started adding a source of healthy fat alongside his onions every time he ate them. 6 months later, same age, same food, same daily habit, but only one of them wakes up with noticeably more energy. Only one of them has a steadier blood pressure reading. Only one of them sleeps through the night without getting up twice to use the bathroom. The first man, frustrated, eventually tells his wife the whole onion habit was probably just another overhyped health trend, and he quietly stops bothering with it. The second man tells anyone who will listen that he feels years younger, with no idea that the real difference was never the onion by itself. It was what he was eating alongside it. The only variable separating these two men was fat. That is exactly what we are talking about today, and that is exactly why the title of this video matters. Never eat raw onions alone. This is not a small distinction, and it is not some minor technicality either. This is the entire reason so many well-meaning men over 40 commit to a healthy habit, follow it consistently, and still never feel the results they were promised. It is rarely that the food itself fails to work. It is almost always this one missing piece that determines whether the food can even reach your bloodstream in the first place. So here is exactly what happens inside your body when you combine raw onions with a source of healthy fat, and I will walk you through it in plain language, no medical degree required. The moment this combination reaches your small intestine, the healthy fat wraps around the quercetin and sulfur molecules from the onion, almost like a protective carrier. Think of it like a delivery truck. Without that truck, these healing compounds are simply standing on the side of the road with nowhere to go. Nobody picks them up. Nobody delivers them to where your body actually needs them. The fat is the truck, and it accomplishes two things at once. First, it slows these compounds down as they travel through your intestine, giving the absorption points along your gut wall the time they need to properly pull them into your bloodstream. Second, it physically enables their uptake in a way that simply does not happen without fat present. One without the other leaves you with only half a working system. Once these compounds enter your bloodstream, quercetin travels directly to the inner lining of your blood vessels, that paper-thin layer coating every single vessel throughout your body, including every vessel supplying your prostate and your urological organs. There, it activates a small manufacturing system built directly into those vessel walls. Picture flipping the switch on a factory that has been sitting idle for years. That factory begins producing nitric oxide. At the same time, the sulfur compounds from the onion feed into that same factory from a completely separate entrance, amplifying the output from a second direction entirely. Two pathways working together toward one powerful result. The specific type of fat you choose can add even more to this equation. A high-quality fat source, particularly one rich in its own protective plant compounds, has been shown in research to independently strengthen that same nitric oxide producing system, entirely separate from anything the onion is already contributing. So you are not simply improving delivery, you are triggering production from two completely different directions at the same time. That is the real synergy at work here, and it is exactly why this pairing is genuinely different from almost anything else you will come across online. For your urological system specifically, more nitric oxide means better blood flow directly to the prostate, healthier relaxation of the muscles in your bladder and urinary tract, and the vascular support that male vitality depends on every day. This is not a theory. This is basic anatomy and physiology, functioning the way your body was designed to function, once it finally receives what it actually needs. Now let me walk you through 3 simple, practical ways to put this into action starting tonight. No special equipment, nothing expensive, just real food, used the correct way. The first method is the most direct and the most powerful. Slice half a raw red or white onion into thin slices, the way you would prepare it for a sandwich. Add 1 full tablespoon of a healthy fat source directly over the top. Extra virgin olive oil works beautifully here. Add a small pinch of sea salt, then let the mixture rest for 5 minutes before eating. That 5-minute wait genuinely matters. It gives the fat time to fully coat the active compounds before digestion even begins, so your body receives the full benefit starting from the very first bite. Eat this alongside any meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It truly does not matter which one you choose. The easiest approach is anchoring it to whichever meal you already eat at roughly the same time each day. Stack it onto an existing habit, and it becomes automatic almost immediately. The second method works beautifully for men who find raw onion a little too sharp on the stomach by itself. Mince your raw onion very finely, almost down to a soft, paste-like texture. Combine it with your healthy fat source, a generous squeeze of fresh lemon juice, and a small pinch of sea salt. Lemon is not simply added for flavor here. The vitamin C in fresh lemon juice is a natural supporting factor for that same nitric oxide producing system inside your blood vessels, and it actively helps that system function properly. Spoon this mixture generously over your morning eggs, over grilled fish or chicken at dinner, or spread it directly onto whole grain toast. It keeps well in the refrigerator for about 2 days, meaning you can prepare it once and have it ready every single morning without any extra effort or excuses standing in your way. The third method is the one I promised you at the very beginning, and it is the one most men never even think of, specifically for urological health. Take a small handful of raw onion, finely chopped, and combine it with your healthy fat source and a small handful of raw walnuts, crushed. Walnuts bring their own independent source of compounds that support healthy circulation, and when paired with the fat-activated onion compounds, they create a third layer of support directed specifically at the blood vessels feeding your urinary tract and prostate. Sprinkle this combination over a simple salad, over steamed vegetables, or eat it as a small side dish alongside your evening meal. 3 ingredients, 30 seconds of preparation, and a level of support your body has likely been missing for years without you ever realizing it. What makes this third method particularly valuable is that it addresses urological health from more than one angle simultaneously. The onion compounds support the nitric oxide system. The healthy fat ensures those compounds are actually absorbed instead of passing through unused, and the walnuts contribute their own circulatory benefits, working quietly in the background alongside everything else. Most men only ever address one small piece of this puzzle. They eat the onion and stop there, assuming that alone is the whole solution. Very few men ever combine all 3 elements together into a single, deliberate daily habit, and that is precisely why this particular method tends to produce results men actually notice within just a few weeks of consistent use. You do not need to use all 3 methods every single day. Choose whichever one fits most naturally into your current routine, whether that is a quick, raw preparation at dinner, a spreadable paste you can prepare once and use across several meals, or this final combination built specifically with your urological health in mind. Consistency matters far more than variety. The men who see the clearest results are rarely the ones doing something complicated. They are the ones doing something simple, and doing it every single day without exception. Here is what I want every man watching today to carry with him after this video. Your body's ability to produce nitric oxide is not fixed. It is not something that simply disappears at 40 and stays gone forever. It responds directly, and it responds measurably to what you choose to give it. And when you start giving it the right combinations, foods working together the exact way nature always intended, you genuinely feel the difference. Better circulation, more energy in the morning, fewer interruptions during the night, stronger urinary function, a level of vitality that you may have quietly started to believe was behind you, but it is not. I have spoken with men in their 60s and 70s who made simple, consistent changes like this one, and they have told me they feel more like themselves than they have in years. One man told me he had almost forgotten what it felt like to sleep through an entire night without getting up. Another told me his morning energy came back in a way he had not experienced since his 30s, and he genuinely believed that version of himself was gone for good. These are not extraordinary men with extraordinary resources. They are ordinary men who learned one small piece of information and applied it consistently, night after night, meal after meal. Men over 40 deserve honest, practical, straightforward information about how their bodies actually work. Not fear, not unnecessary complexity, not a product to sell you, just the truth about what your biology needs and the simplest possible way to give it to your body. You do not need an expensive supplement. You do not need a complicated regimen. You need one small, correct adjustment to something you are very possibly already doing every day. 1 tablespoon of healthy fat over your raw onions every single day. That is the message. A small habit, a profound piece of biology, and meaningful results if you stay consistent with it. There is something almost poetic about the fact that the solution to a problem so many men quietly struggle with was never locked away in a laboratory or hidden behind a prescription pad. It was sitting in the produce aisle and on the pantry shelf the entire time, waiting for someone to explain the one detail that makes all the difference. That is exactly what this video was for. Your health is worth protecting, and the tools to protect it have likely been sitting in your kitchen the entire time. If this gave you something real today, please take 2 seconds and give this video a thumbs up. It genuinely helps more men find this information, and that is exactly why I do this work. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss a new video, and leave a comment right now. Tell me where you are watching from, and tell me whether you are going to try the onion and healthy fat combination starting today. I read every single comment, and hearing from men all around the world who are making these choices for their health is what truly keeps me going. This video is for educational purposes only. The information shared here does not constitute medical advice and is not a substitute for professional medical guidance, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult your personal physician or a qualified urologist before making significant changes to your diet, especially if you have pre-existing cardiovascular conditions, prostate health concerns, are currently taking prescription medications, or have been diagnosed with any urological condition. And before you close this video, there is another one right there on your screen that I want you to watch next. The men who have watched it tell me it was the one that genuinely changed how they felt day to day after 40. Watch it now. Your future self will be glad you did.